What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a very special From Screen to Shelf review. I am Chase, aka Wallet Bully Extraordinaire. I am here today to talk to you about M. Night Shyamalan's newest theatrical release, which is the Josh Hartnett starred Trap. Um, for those that may just be clicking on this, like, what is this movie? What is that? Maybe you haven't heard of it. A quick synopsis is this is M. Night's newest movie. It looked very interesting. The portion of the trailer had screened for me right before another screening of something else a few months back. It looked really cool from the trailer. So I was pretty stoked for this one. And I do want to start this off. I haven't seen everything M. Night Shyamalan. I am not an M. Night Shyamalan hater. I've seen Last Airbender, but that didn't like torch my soul like it has some other people whenever it comes to M. Night. And I don't find him to be an extremely hit or miss director. Now, I haven't seen a lot of his classics. I'm getting to those. But I have been watching a lot of his like 2015 movies and up. And I even did watch and did a review on the channel for his daughter's first directorial debut of The Watchers. So I was pretty excited. I really liked Old. I thought it was unique and it had an interesting premise. And I really liked Cabin in the Woods, or not Cabin in the Wood, Knock at the Cabin. I really, really, really liked that. I had my gripes with both of them, but I found them to be perfectly fine films. So I kind of thought maybe he was going to at least deliver something in lieu of that. But I am here today to break down how I feel. So Trap is about essentially a serial killer goes to a concert at Rogers Arena up there, I believe in Toronto. Is that where that one is? So they don't necessarily know exactly what he looks like, but they have like this very extreme profiler that has him down to like a T. So it's not like they have an image of him, but they have pretty much the necessary descriptions to be able to find him. And so they have the entire place surrounded. There's no way out. They get tipped off that he's going to be at Rogers Arena for this concert. And that's essentially where it goes from there. And that's what sets up our whole little cat and mouse type of game. So to kind of preface how I feel, and like I always say, anytime I do reviews, I judge movies based on what they do, not what I want them to do. So therefore, judging it that way, I was not a big fan of this movie. Unfortunately, I think the premise was extremely unique, something fresh, something M. Night Shyamalan, and something that just really, really, really harbors those feelings of something fresh and unique, and something to kind of wash the palate as more movies come out. And unfortunately, I only got really half of what I was kind of wanting out of this movie. The cat and mouse parts were really cool. However, they just fell really flat. The best way to describe this is like if you've ever played the Hitman Agent 47 games, or like the World of Assassination is the newest one where they had like a trilogy for it. That's kind of how this one plays out. Not to the fullest degree, but there's some parts where it's like he's being crafty with his network of like things that he has at his disposal, and he's being very handy with them. But it just doesn't feel like he fully goes the mile. I don't know if it's because it's PG-13. There's almost next to no reason to really call this a horror movie. It's much more of a thriller. There's no horror. I mean, there's some horror elements, but those can be chalked up to being thrillers. So whenever it comes to that, that really fell flat for me. I really didn't like the concert setting. While I did understand it, I think it was a waste of an opportunity. You know, you have a loud environment, you can be a little bit louder and stuff, get away with some things. You know, people are super distracted because they're into the music. It's not like a sports game where you may be distracted or only half bought in on that. I think a sports setting would have been better, just for what we ended up getting. I absolutely fucking hated, and I don't use the word hate ever, but I really despised the score in this. It is very poppy, and I'm not one of those anti-pop type of people. I think pop has its place, and it has its songs, and it has its bangers. It's just this was not it. This was not it. I just no. I don't know. So to preface, his daughter stars as like the singer or the performer that is the main attraction here for the concert. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I believe she goes by Suleika, but she's an actual artist. She's done some songs with like Kid Cudi and stuff like that. And she did the entire soundtrack for this movie. Well, it's not a horrible soundtrack. It's just it's so very like mid preteens, mid teenager. Like I like this, you know what I mean? And it's just not my vibe. It's again, like I said, I'm not a pop hater. It's just, I just really didn't like it. While I get what it was catered to, because like he has his daughter with him. That's the whole setup is like he a day out with his daughter, and so it makes sense set up for her. It's just that none of this movie really pans out. Like, none of it. Nothing every single time that it would get somewhere that I was like, "Okay." Like, at the beginning, I despised the opening, and I was like, "Damn, okay, we're already starting off around, like, 2.5, 3 star out of 5." And then, it starts picking back up, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, Josh Hartnett's really killing it in this role." Yeah, his daughter's likable, everything, got a really wholesome family here, except for the fact that he's a serial killer. Um and it's just the songs, I just couldn't get in it, there wasn't any, like, head bopping. It was almost half concert film and a portion thriller. That's really what it was. It really felt like a concert film for the most part, and I think that might have been my biggest gripe with it. Maybe it's because of the way that the trailers led me in, and that's why I really don't like watching trailers. I think I might have been able to go into this with a much more open mind, but even knowing just the synopsis of this, it just probably would have still brought it down. The ending I did kinda like, while I did feel like it was half-baked and it has that M. Night Shyamalan, "Oh, okay," but it was a bit predictable, didn't really come out of left field or anything like that. I just really didn't vibe with this movie, and I know my score, like, I was pretty forgiving, like, I really was struggling between a 2.5 out of 5 to a 3 out of 5 from, like, the halfway point onwards, and I'm not sitting there like, "Oh, okay, that stars off, that's this." It's just like there was this huge emotional wavelength while watching this movie where it was like all these highs and lows, like some really cool shit and then some really bad shit. And that's just really what I struggled with this movie. I might like it more on a rewatch, but I don't think I'm even going to pick up the 4K for this. I just really, really, really think that this was a missed opportunity for something that had a really, really, really cool idea and really, really, really cool premise. Some of the things just really didn't make sense. Like there's a part trying to see how to get into this without spoilers. Like there's a part where like he essentially gives a lot of information to get his way and it made no sense. It just made no sense. Like why? Why would you do that? I feel like there was much better ways, especially with how crafty he was being the whole film. It just doesn't add up. This isn't the worst movie I've seen of the year. It's just the biggest letdown. It's an extremely well made movie. It's an M Night, got high production value. The setting of the Rogers Arena with all the extras and the entire crowd there. It was just so well put together. But the parts that just didn't work just did not fucking work in any way, shape, or form for me. They just didn't. So I'm gonna give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna rock with it. I know, like, with as much as like I'm dogging it and not really praising it, that sounds surprising. It's just like I said, like the Hitman Agent 47 moments that don't get fleshed out, like while they're building up and while they're happening, are just so fucking cool. And Josh Hartnett really does a good job in his role. I really liked his performance here. I'm excited to see what he does more of. But for the most part, it just really falls flat. So 5.5 out of 10 is where I'm going to sit on this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another From Screen to Shelf review. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you saw Trapped. Let me know how you feel. If you guys have any recommendations for what you want to see on the channel in the future, also please drop those comments below. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for more From Screen to Shelf content. Until next time, everybody, this is Chase signing out.